What's up, guys? Welcome back to the MLG Winter Exhibition, where we take all the round one losers of the Winter Championship event that happened not too long ago. We throw them into a 16-player bracket and see who can get the $1,500 that are up for grab. Of course, $1,000 for first place and $500 for second place. We're currently covering the round of 16. I'm axeltoss, joined by axslav, and we're currently watching a best of 5 between Creator and Minigun.
Creator is up 1-0, taking that first map on Cloud Kingdom with basically better micro and better deciding where to make the engagement closer to his own pylon.
Yeah.
Game number 2, though, is going to be on Daybreak. Can Minigun make the comeback? Daybreak's, I think it's a good map to do it on.
It's one of the more familiar maps if we're talking about the map pool of this tournament, because it's been around for a very long time, since Wings Liberty. I think it even came out before Cloud Kingdom, to be completely honest. But yeah, both these players should be very familiar with this matchup in Wings of Liberty at the very least. But again, this is Heart of the Swarm. But again, Daybreak is a map that's characterized by you know, mid-game, late-game play, where it's a little bit harder to engage your opponents on two bases because there's not that many attack paths, and the rush distance is pretty darn long. So let's go ahead and introduce players. Bottom left-hand location, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Root Gaming. He has a lot of middle names. I'm not sure what his middle name actually is. I don't even know if I want to know what his middle name actually is. He is Minigun. His opponent in the top right-hand location is Creator, the blue Protoss player from Team Prime, showing commanding Blink Stalker play in game number 1. Of course, probably most well known for his deep run into the Blizzard World Finals, getting second place there. This guy knows how to play STARCRAFT too. And he's currently up 1-0 in this best of 5.
He is. I'm really interested to see how this game plays out. On Cloud Kingdom, both players really went super heavy into Blink Stalkers after the start of the game. Daybreak, though, is a map where you don't see Blink Stalkers quite as often. Potential things we could see here, DT Rush has been getting very popular in Heart of the Swarm. A very strong opening, I think we may see that. And of course, fast expansions and airplay, both popular as well on Daybreak.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, for those of you newer to watching StarCraft, potentially, or new to watching Heart of the Swarm, or maybe you just heard that Heart of the Swarm came out and you've been playing Wings Liberty and you're wondering what all the changes are. That's one of the pretty big ones. The Dark Shrine was decreased in cost from, the minerals are the same, but the gas is decreased from 250 to 150, which means there's a lot of stuff you can actually tech the Dark Shrine without making too many risks. And we're seeing a lot of players actually incorporate like DT expand builds, because again, it's 150 less gas. That's more resources you can focus on getting the minerals out, so you can get that expansion out, because you don't need to mine as much gas as you used to get that Dark Shrine down. So that's why it's become very popular in PvP, as well as the fact that you know, of course, getting that Dark Templars out always means your opponent has to get detection. If they don't get detection, then they're going to straight up lose to the Dark Templar play. So it really helps you dictate the pace of the game.
It does. I think it also, what coincides well with it is the Mothership Core. Of course, one of the problems if you invest a lot in the Dark Templar Shrine, you can't get too much damage done with those Dark Templar. All of a sudden, you're in a situation where you're going to be behind and it might be very hard to defend expansion. But with that Mothership Core now, that's a very strong defensive utility. You can go to the Dark Templar play and expand behind it. By the time your opponent really feels comfortable crossing the map, you probably have that Photon Overcharge up ready to defend very well. Here we can see Creator is going for airplay. Minigun hasn't yet revealed his tech choice, in fact. Mining off of every one of his gases, but investing in Sentry and Mothership Core. So it looks like it'll most likely be a fast expansion. This is a build I really like to do. You just basically crank out Sentries. That lets your minerals build up. As the minerals build up, you put down a Nexus, and then you can use your Sentries, if you're not rushed, to scout with Hallucination.
And of course, once your Nexus finishes and you have enough energy for that Photon Overcharge, it makes aggression from your opponent that much less scary. Now, potential problem with this is if a lot of Phoenixes get on the field and your opponent is able to snipe down a few, you know, even a Sentry without losing a Phoenix is definitely going to be worth it. Maybe even sniping down the Mothership Core. So I think Minigun definitely needs to be able to scout exactly what his opponent is doing, but I feel like he should have an idea considering the popularity of Stargate play nowadays, you know, with the added Oracle as a unit in Heart of the Swarm. So we'll have to see if Minigun is going to be able to identify exactly what his opponent is doing and how he reacts. Meanwhile, Creator, look at this, scouting this pylon like no big deal.
We can see Minigun did get that probe scout, saw there was no natural by Creator. saw there was 2 Zealots and 2 Sentries guarding the ramp, and that's going to tell him there's no Blink Stalker play either. But it still could be Dark Templar rush, so Minigun is going to put down that Robotics Bay, which is going to make it much more difficult for him to actually... Oh, now he knows exactly what's going on, the hallucinated Phoenix scouting everything. Is he going to cancel that Robotics Bay and put in more gateways, or is he going to just keep it and try to use maybe some Immortals or Observers? Immortals either to help defend a straight attack, or Observers to keep better track of exactly where Creator is striking at him.
Looks like he is going to keep it, Chrono boosting a Warp Gate here, trying to get Stalkers on the field. Of course, you need those Stalkers to help defend against those pesky Phoenixes. With that added range in Heart of the Storm, they can be very annoying indeed. So Minigun warping in. Looks like 2 Stalkers there. Make that 3. Gonna have 3 Stalkers on the field and those Sentries as his anti-air. Meanwhile, Creator making a line of pylons across the top of the map. He has 3 gates behind this. He's definitely gonna do some aggression.
He is, and Minigun only has 3 gates as well to defend. That Robotics Bay is not being, Robotics Facility, excuse me, not being used so quite yet. He does have Photon Overcharge ready. He does have several Sentries, so he definitely can delay the battle with Photon Overcharge. He's got to use it quickly, though.
Gotta use it. All right, there it is. Creator gonna back away. Now the energy on the Militia Core, it's still 50 away from being able to use Photon Overcharge again. So Creator probably just going to wait for that time, or wait for the existing Photon Overcharge to expire while sending those Phoenixes into his opponent's main base, because he knows his opponent's army is at his natural expansion, trying to keep him alive, so he's not going to be defending. Here we go, Creator coming forward with all of his Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries. Force Field's going down, Photon Overcharge is still active here. A Phoenix getting taken down, and Creator's going to have to back away.
That was a pretty good trade by Creator, though, losing, I think, 2 Stalkers, maybe 1 other unit, but he took down that Mothership Core, and if he didn't take that down, there would have been a second Photon Overcharge very soon. So now all he has to do is wait out that first one, then he can go back in on the attack. And remember, Minigun, even though he has expansion, he's only on 3 gates, so his production is exactly the same as Creator's at this moment.
Minigun does have this expansion down, his opponent doesn't, so if Minigun can fend this off, he's definitely going to have a lead. Mothership Core popping out, doesn't have enough energy for Mothership, or for the Photon Overcharge. Force Field's going down for both of these 2 players. Phoenix is trying to find something to do from above, but Minigun trying to stay near the back of this middle line, and Creator's just going to target down that Nexus 4 now, but now it's switching his target fire since Minigun is poking out a little bit with his main army. Creator is going to stay ahead in supply as of right now, with Minigun now extending ahead. The Phoenix is going to pick up the Immortal, and Creator just continuing to just throw units at his opponent's natural expansion.
Minigun needs to keep that Immortal alive. Creator has a greater Stalker count. The Immortal's the key thing. The Immortal's getting focused down. Creator takes down the Immortal, and now what is going to stop his superior gateway count from crushing right over Minigun?
Minigun only 3 Stalkers down the low ground, make that 2, and Immortal popping out, going to try to do his damage, but Phoenix going to take care of that threat very easily, picking him up, and Minigun forced to throw down the GG. A game where Minigun tried to go for that faster expansion, but Creator able to recognize it, able to be very cost efficient with his Phoenixes, and then able to just power out the gateway units to end Minigun there in game 2.
Yeah, what's really interesting is when Minigun scouted the Stargate play, he still went with that Robotics Facility. And I mean, most players, the whole idea of that build is you get the Robotics Facility, so in case you go DTs, you're fine. But as soon as that hallucination kicks in, against one base Stargate play, you typically cancel the Robotics Facility, build either 2 more gateways or a forge, and get some cannons, and then you're ahead in economy, so you're good to go. Minigun almost held that, even with the robotics, with the Photon Overcharge, the force fields, but just couldn't quite make it work.
It's really tricky because, you know, Minigun obviously putting all of his units at his natural expansion. He's wanting to defend against the push. He doesn't want to die. Well, that enables Creator to just send the 3 Phoenixes into his opponent's main base and start doing damage to the probes. And while it's only 2 or 3 probes, you don't think that's a lot of damage. Well, it kind of adds up because back home, Creator has a full economy. His probes aren't being threatened at all. And, you know, he's just continuing to warp in those gateway units, you know, one at a time. And it just, he got too powerful of an army. Now, I have a question for you. You mentioned the cancellation of the robotics facility. Is there, if you had to name a time where it's not worth it to cancel, like let's say it's halfway done, do you still cancel it? Do you not cancel it? Like, what's the time where you make that decision?
Against Stargate play, if you see 3 gates and a Stargate and no probe production, so you know they have to do some aggression, I think you should always cancel it. The money can be put into a forge, and the nice thing about if you just get 1 or 2 cannons, those can protect your sentries and your mothership core from the Phoenixes. So then you don't have to get stalkers, and if you don't get stalkers, you can get a lot more sentries.
Do you build the forge right when you see the Stargate?
Yeah, basically. Well, right when you see gateways and Stargate.
Okay.
If it's a Stargate expansion, you don't need the forge, but. And in fact, I've seen people hold that with just going 5 gates. So they
no robo.
No robo, just 5 gates, and a lot of sentry stalker. Great force fields. It's holdable, but with only 3 gates,
Yeah.
Problem is even with the expansion, your production is exact same as theirs.
Yeah. And you're essentially cutting probes anyway because you really want to get those units out.
Oh, you are, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Trickiness.
Tough hold.
But Minigun almost did it. Kudos to him. Like he almost made it happen, but Creator just had too much. Guys, that concludes Game 2 of this best of 5. Creator is 1 win away from advancing on to the next round of our winter exhibition. Stay tuned. Game 3 coming up.